Good morning, good afternoon, and good night to some of us. My name is Helen Owens, and I'm here today at the She Compass Show. And today, I am the one doing the intro because I want to introduce the fabulous, dynamic, wonderful person in my life that helps me navigate everything. Without her, I could not be a captain or a commander of my own ship because all of us need someone behind us supporting our goals and pushing us to be our best self. So today I am interviewing Joe Owens. And good morning, Joe.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of our listeners. And I want to say thank you to Helen. What we're going to do today, as she mentioned, is, we kind of want to turn the spotlight a little bit on us. Sometimes we like to do these little, I don't want to necessarily call them behind the scenes, but just kind of an introversion on what we do and what it takes to put the show together, what it takes to put She Compass together, and why we're so appreciative of your support. So Helen is going to talk to me a little bit about kind of some of the job that I do. I can't tell you how many people say, so we know what Helen does. We know that she's the author of the book. We know that she's a speaker. We know she's a great mentor and motivator. So what's Joe's role? And I get that a lot. So today we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Helen?
Yes, and today we're going to talk about Joe's role in holding everything up around here. She's like the glue that holds the parts together. All the different titles I have, my little parts sometimes break up, and she says, let me patch you up and keep you going. So, Joe, I want to ask you the first question this morning. How do you do all the things you do?
And I think that's a great question, and it also feeds to what do I do, which is the question.
Right, exactly. But I want everybody to know pretty much like all the things you do, because you're all these different moving parts, and we would all like to know exactly what you do and how you do it and why you are determined to keep doing it.
All right. Well, I'm happy to answer that question or that series of questions. I think the best way to answer that is to say that I run the marketing for the organization. I run the business development for the organization, and it's something I've been doing for a while. I have a background, as some of you folks may or may not know, I have a background in communication and journalism, and it's been something that's been near and dear to my heart. I've kind of worked in that fashion in one form or another for the last 25 years, and it's doing everything from being a good writer to being a great salesperson to doing a lot to garnering coverage and media coverage. A lot of people don't know. I think Helen was asked not too long ago about some of the opportunities that she was getting, and one of the folks that she was having the conversation with was saying, well, wait a minute, but how do you get all of these opportunities? Well,
exactly.
You have to work for them. You have to research them. You have to look out for them. So it's everything from press releases to interacting with the media to doing research on awards and opportunities to creating speaking opportunities for Helen. It's anything that allows us to connect with you. You already know that I do the producing and the research for the podcast. And so that kind of feeds into all these other things that we get done.
Yes.
You may also know that Helen and I worked on that book. Worked on the Defining Our She Compass book collectively. It is all her storytelling. As you know that she's the person dispensing the advice and again, doing what she does best, and that is connecting people and mentoring people. And I've served as her editor on that as well.
Yes. And if I could just interrupt to say
Please.
that just in case people out there don't know that I'm very, very dyslexic. And so having someone supporting you who understands the way you learn, who understands the way you teach, who understands the way you mentor, and who understands you as a person is so very, very important. I've been told 1 million times, I think if I had a nickel for every time I've been told that, Joe is a great person because she's right there with you or right there behind you. And in the understanding of that, being a entrepreneurs, you can understand out there in podcast land how important it is to have someone backing you. We don't, like the old saying, there's no I in team, right? So you're not doing all these fabulous things that make you look great in the public eye and really puts you on a platform where people understand who you are. All of that hard work and backing has come from one single person. and that's Joe Owens.
And I want to reiterate and underscore what you just said, and that's to say, and thank you for that. And then, but
Sure.
also,
It's well deserved.
Well, thank you. And also to say, and this is something Helen understands very, very, very well. She understands the process of marketing. She understands, that's why she's what I've always said, the dream client, because she really understands the process. She understands how long it takes. I had someone ask me not too long ago when we were talking about the podcast, so Joe, how long does it take to get all of the information, to get the research, to get the guests together?
Oh my God.
And that's exactly the reaction I had. I was kind of laughing in my head, but I also was like, thank you for actually asking that, because people, I think that, when they see all of the results, it's like, oh, that's great that,
Something
took
fell out of the sky.
Something fell out of the sky. It took them 5 minutes to get that together.
Oh
there was one, I think the interview that we did with the dignitaries in San Francisco, the mayor, and then also the
hard work,
who she was at the time, the president of the board of supervisors. That took 3 months just to solidify that.
Yes, and to get it together and to communicate with all the different people you have to communicate with to even get to those people. And here's the thing. I'm a person who's a mentor for one of them, and still you had to go through a battlefield to get that done. So all the time and energy and all the effort, it is amazing what it takes to get one job done. And like I said, there are people out here right now who understand that and understand that that's a blessing to have someone who works in the same type of format mentally that you're working in as well, to understand what you're trying to get done in a timely fashion so you can get to the next thing. Sometimes when I look at all the things that we've done together, and this is why I'm just blab on. It's her, I'm interviewing her, and this is that dyslexic thing coming out. And
but
I'm
thank
just
goodness.
trying to explain. But what I'm saying is, kudos to you, Joe.
Thank you.
You are, you never pat yourself on the back. So I'm here to massage your shoulders if you need me to.
and it sure feels good, because I do need a massage.
I'll bring you water, ice in it. I'll cook for you. I'll do anything. I mean, it's just amazing to have that kind of person in your life. And I know so many people have said that they've tried to solidify a person like that to work with them, because I don't look at this as my business. And that's another thing. I am very humble to stand to the side and to give props where prop is due. And it's not always to me. And even if it is to me, I'm also willing to look at the other people who make it happen, and the people that I have on my team. And number one ace boo-coon is Joe Owens, because she is the wheels to the wagon. I cannot move unless, my dad used to always say, which wagon makes the most noise, an empty one or a full one? And I used to think, and he says it's the empty one.
Empty one. Yeah.
Because, of course, you're hearing all ding, 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 but if it's full, you're not going to hear a lot of noise. So she is the wheels to the wagon that makes this thing work.
We'll be right back. Love the She Compass Show? Then help us become a winner at the 14th Annual People's Choice Podcast Awards. Your nomination can help us keep doing what we love, encouraging women to rise to their highest potential and celebrating the bonds of sisterhood. Registration for the People's Choice Podcast Awards begins July 1st, 2019 at www.podcastawards.com. Simply register, then submit your nomination for the She Compass Show. Thank you for your support. Join Helen on the Path of the Lightworker, a podcast where listeners hear from people doing their life's work and bringing light to the world. On Helen's appearance, the host writes, Helen Owens is an example of the loving light that shows up to everything with the intention to love, be expansive, and show people their worth. Somebody like that naturally excels. When we talk about life purpose, she has such an incredible story, and I really resonated with it. Her story is a powerful example of letting your heart lead you forward one step at a time. We're excited to announce Helen's latest speaking engagement. Helen will join the ladies of Believe, Inspire, Grow in Chatham Township, New Jersey on Friday, August 9th, 2019 at 10 a.m. for an inspiring talk on how she overcame the challenges of severe dyslexia and dysgraphia, poverty, teenage pregnancy, and the loss of her hair as a child to become a successful business owner and author of the 3-time award-winning book, Finding Our She Compass, 15 Life Lessons for Women Voyaging Toward Restoration, Reconstruction, and Renewal. Helen has been empowering women through word and action for years and is the recipient of multiple awards for her dedication to improving the lives of women everywhere. Our podcast, The She Compass Show, is based on that book premise of using life lessons on the path to self-discovery. Please join us for a great day of conversation, fellowship, and encouragement. For more details on the event and to learn how to become a member of Believe, Inspire, Grow, also known as BIG, contact Kathy Maloney at cmaloney1@verizon.net. That's CMALONEY, the number 1, at verizon.net. You can also visit the website at believeinspiregrow.com. And we'll also have links to the contact information and website for Believe, Inspire, Grow in our show notes for this episode. We look forward to seeing you there. Now, back to the show. And I'm going to give you an example. Back in the old days when Helen and I first started working together, and and we were just starting to, how do I want to say, she had a lot of her own success, but we were starting to put her business on the map.
And let me tell you, people,
mm-hmm.
I want you to know that I back in the day when the phones weren't, you couldn't, because when she first dropped the iPhone in my hand, it was like, I felt like I was thrown out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this. But I work that thing and show other people how to work it, but it's because of her. Because I kept a book, and in my book of appointments, I kept codes next to my appointments by identifying who people were and where they were coming from and what I was going to do. And that's the way that I kept my business books, because hey, that you dyslexics out there know what I'm talking about. It's
using your spatial skills,
right,
and your visualization skills and this is interesting. This is something I always say to Helen, which I think is one of the greatest things about the job that she does. It's dyslexics. Research shows that they do not necessarily remember names well, but and that's a challenge. But they remember everything about that person.
Yeah.
So Helen will be the one to say, and I'll say, oh well, Susie's on her way next week, and she'll say, well, who's that? And I'll say, well, that's the one who. And then as soon as I say that, she will remember everything there is about the person, and that's why they make such great connections too.
And in the real world, people think if you don't remember their name, it's because, I don't know, you have some sense of not really caring about who they are. So everybody is boo,
Right. Or sweetie or honey.
Sweetie or honey or boo.
Right.
Because I love and care about so many people, but that's just not a skill I have to remember names. I can remember your face. I can remember what you made me feel like, and I can remember what your personality is. I can remember everything about you, but your name is just, it all blends in, and it just kind of falls
And I
off
will
the
say
page.
that's actually one of the great things about working with you too, because I'm just going to go back to what I was saying before about what it takes
Sure.
to create an opportunity.
Oh, yes.
Please. I think when this was another question that we would get in the beginning when we were first starting to interact with the media. So Helen went from a sort of small business that was operating and serving women in private to something that was very public, and people started saying to her when they would see the accolades that she was getting in the press for the services that she was doing, and they would say to her, well, wait a minute, how did you get this? Did someone just call you out of the, did Time Magazine just pick up a phone and decide they want to interview you?
Right.
And the reality is that these are opportunities that were worked on for months and months in advance. It took a lot of research.
Sometimes years.
A lot of research, a lot of outreach, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to get elicit the feedback that you want. Because it's one thing to just reach out to somebody, and a whole other thing, I should say, to get them to respond to you. That takes a skill, and it's a dance that really you have to, have some idea of how the steps are going to go to be able to get the communication.
Yeah, I would say that it's like doing the cha-cha-cha.
Yeah, it is like doing cha-cha-cha.
Everything is, over here or over there or in the middle. But I remember when you solidified the opportunity with another team member for the Pink magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And just to tell people out there, this is one thing that's so fabulous about this woman, because when she creates one opportunity, she always keeps in mind the trail of opportunity that comes behind that one thing. And that one thing led to really big things and bigger opportunities, because I would tell everybody out there, if you're in business, get yourself a public relations specialist, someone who can talk about you, because you may be doing the greatest thing in the world, but if no one knows about it, it's going to fall below the wayside, because you need someone who knows how to communicate with people out there and let them know what you're doing and let them know that you're doing something great that they need to hear about.
And I think the other thing you said earlier too, when you said make sure it's a person that knows and understands you well.
Oh, most definitely.
That is a huge part of being able to act on someone else's behalf.
And I know everybody out there is not going to be a family member to someone and may not know you well, but it's your job to educate people on who you are and what you stand for. Don't get someone in there and just say, oh, I got PR now, so I can just drop the ball. That's not the way PR works. They need to know what color underwear you wear at night. So that sounds funny, but to identify exactly who you are and what you stand for, sometimes you have to go a little bit deep into your own business so people understand you. Because remember, they're going to be the voice for you. And when someone else is speaking on your behalf, you do not want them to make the mistake of not knowing who you really are. And please don't think you can speak on your own behalf, because sometimes that's the worst thing you can do. You need to know what needs to be conveyed on your end to understand who you are.
Storytelling is an art, and that is something I think, like I said, that's why I said Helen is the dream client. She understands the process of what's involved, and she's also an amazing storyteller. This is the thing about sort of creating new opportunities and going out of your way to do that. Helen's business development role is to continue to bring in new opportunities, new business, new connections that allow us to continue to do the work that we do. And this is the thing she understands about the process, the storytelling skills that she has, the ability to communicate, the ability to connect with people. I don't see too many people that have that ability. A lot of people just want to sort of run down facts and information, but she's continuous proof that it's more than just kind of walking out the door with your deck and your press packets and these kinds of things. It's really about creating connections, and that's one of the things that she does well, which makes my job easier because she does understand the whole umbrella of it.
Yeah, the process is difficult. And another thing I would like to say is be yourself. Be who you really are, because when people do come to you, what you're telling them is the reason why. No matter what that reason is, or no matter how you handle the reason, be real. With whoever you are, you need to be real about who you are so people don't come up with surprises and find out you're nothing like what you say you are. So I would say, keep it real.
That is really, really good advice. That's some of the, and that's advice that people give all the time. And I think whether you're in whatever form of your career that you're in, that sort of sticking to who you are and being truthful about who you are and being honest about who you are and to yourself and to others is the thing that's going to propel you to the next level. Nobody really knows what their future specifically is going to hold. We all have some idea. We make plans. We try to steer our ships into calm waters so that we're not running into too many white squalls and having too many issues. But we all want, none of us really know specifically what that's going to be. But what we can be true to is who we are. And I think that's one of the reasons why She Compass continues to be what it is, because we are steadfast in our belief about what it is that we're trying to do. We're trying to support other women. We're trying to encourage women. We're trying to empower women. And that's also something that we believe in our own space as well. So it does allow us to tell our stories a little bit better because it is true to who we are.
Yes, and you come across in the stories that I tell you and that you have to convey to others pretty much perfectly, because like I said, it's about getting to know your client, and the client also getting to know what they can do to help themselves, because PR is not something that you just hand over to someone and say, okay, go, and then you realize that you're not getting the results that you thought you should get, but you're not putting in the effort. Listen, it's about you. It's about your life. It's about the way you work and what you do. So you have to put that effort in. And I mean 100. You have to give 100% to that, and as well giving 100% to your business, giving 100% to your clients, giving 100% to everything that you do. And that's why I tell people all the time, you have to be able to give of yourself what you really don't understand that you have to give in the beginning. Joe was doing great in Silicon Valley when I pulled her in, and just because she was my sister did not pull back from asking the hard questions that she said, what is it I can do for you? What is it you think that I can do for you? And when I said, I think you can take this business to the next level, because even if I was getting enough information out there to, have constant clientele coming in, the information that I wanted to convey about who I was and what I was doing needed a special person to really put it out there and, catapult the business to the next level.
And I think that's an excellent point. There was a gentleman that was working with us a couple of days ago in the studio. Yes. So his wife is an up-and-coming designer, and he and I were sort of huddled into the corner talking about the art of media. And of course, obviously, in the new generation, one of the biggest media opportunities is social media. So we were talking about ways to take advantage of that and what to look for. And this is the thing that I think that people who are learning and wanting to communicate to other people who they are and what their business is about. If you're going to bring somebody on board, like Helen said, it is very important that they understand your business, that they understand you, because as we said, storytelling is an art form. But you also want to think about some of the skill sets that they have and really kind of make sure that is in your favor. One thing that was very important to me my entire career is learning how to be a great writer. A great writer, and those of you who know this, you've had the history in the inverted pyramid and you've done the journalism writing and all of this sort of thing. You guys know the tricks of the trade. Being able to convey a story and tell it in so many different facets, whether you're telling it on your blog, whether you're telling it on your podcast, whether you're telling it in your book, whether you're presenting it, and staying on message and understanding what the core message is that you want to deliver is so key. And I think that's one of the main things. Learning how to be a great writer and learning how to be a great communicator is just one of the biggest things, because you can, even in social media, which seems like it might be a little more lax in terms of communicating with media and getting the message out there, social media when it's used correctly, can be a great way to connect with like-minded people and people who are interested in your message. So I think being a great writer is really, really important. The other thing I think that's also important is understanding the business and being able to present that in a form that is clear and concise to people. So if you are thinking about bringing somebody on board, obviously you do want to have some ability to have that connection, but you also want to have somebody that has the proven skill set to be able to do that.
Exactly. And so when you find that person, you learn a lot about yourself too. And as I said, I just don't want entrepreneurs out there to get lax and say, oh, I have this person and they're going to do this for me and that for me. Anything you do, you are going to take on a task to make your business about your business, be about who you are and your integrity as a entrepreneur and what you're going to give back to people. So it's not about the arrogance of standing back and watching everybody do the hard work. You're going to put in time. You can't sit back and think that public relations is about just dropping a ball in someone's hand and say, okay, go tell the world. No, you're going to be a part of telling the world who you are in what you stand for. So you're going to have to develop some skills. And that's why, I love the skill of speaking with other people, and I love the skill of speaking on platforms, because if you don't have that, then you better get ready to develop that.
And I think that's really important. That's a really important point that you brought up. There is this prevailing opinion that you can bring somebody on and, oh, that's their job. I don't have to get involved. I don't have to do it. I can just let, so-and-so handle the work. This is something that Helen and I have run into with other clients that we've tried to work with, or that we've explained this process to. In fact, the gentleman that I was huddled into the corner with when we were doing our work in the studio, as I was kind of going through telling him what to expect, I could see, and there's King Shalalish in the background.
Oh yeah, there's our little king. He's barking at something out there.
So thanks for the break, King Shalalish. And now what I was saying was that the gentleman that we were talking to, I could sort of see his eyes glaze over a little bit, because I don't think he realized the level of work and involvement that he would have to keep this program going. One of our team members had said to Helen and I the other day, or actually said it to Helen, and she translated it to me and said, how in the world do you guys keep all this stuff going? You're doing all of this all at one time. And it really is a matter of complete and total dedication. And so that I think in whatever career you're in, it's just so important to put to give it 100%, because that's what it's gonna take.
Most definitely. And I love how people really think that they don't have to be a part of something. They want all the success, but they think that, my wife is a famous designer. She's just not known. My husband is one of the best hairstylists in the world, but he's just not known. So how are you going to get him known? And how are you going to do that? You can't just hand it over to someone and think that they're going to do it for you. You are going to have to work as hard or harder, because it's your project. So I just want entrepreneurs out there to know, the next time you see someone with success, remember what it takes. It's not just, oh, I'm going to go open this or do that, and people are going to, flood my gates with clients just because of who I am. And, it's good to have a good sense of who you are and feel that you can be successful, but just be willing to work for it, and be willing to work with the person that you hire to help you in every way, because that's your product. That's who you are. It's just like writing that book. That's our product, and that's who we are. And when I say we are, it took a team. I had a wonderful woman by the name of Charlotte Zims who did all the editing, who contributed so much time, and I appreciate that sister to this day. And it takes a sisterhood, like I tell you. And then Joe writing and putting pen to paper of what I was saying. Even if I was saying it, if it didn't get conveyed the right way, it wouldn't have been any good. So you have to let people know who you are. Open up your heart and soul to somebody. You have to trust somebody. And that's the hard part. But I'm just letting you know that if it doesn't happen, all of you cannot be shown if all of you cannot be telling who all of you are.
So acknowledge everyone who's a part of what you have to do. And that's something that Helen's always been very good at. And it speaks to what we believe, that, we acknowledge our entire sisterhood in the movement of She Compass and what we're trying to do. And we encourage you to do the same for one another, because really it is true that teamwork makes the dream work.
That's right. And that book would have never gotten written if I was sitting somewhere in a corner, because I'm telling you, I could not do it. I'm dyslexic, and there wouldn't have been another person on the planet that I would have trusted to do it. So it would have never reached. It would have never been told. It would have never got legs. So just appreciate the people in your life. Appreciate what they do. Show them the love. And it's okay letting people know that you can't do it all. And I don't care if you're dyslexic or not, you still can't do it all. So don't try. Get yourself some help. Get yourself some support. Get yourself some legs. Get yourself some wheels. Buy a set of new rims, and let people help you drive and navigate to where you have to go, because it takes a team. Trust me, it takes a team.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And Helen always likes me to do the closing. And why? For the very reason that she just said, because I'm the one that remembers how to do that.
Child, don't ask no Helen about no social media, babe, because I'll be telling you.
Yeah, she'll send us to Mars before it's over.
You'll say, "Does this lady?" My God, because everything just becomes. And it took me a long time to be able to even talk to anybody about, I know we all have healing to do no matter what our problems are, because they're not on the surface. Everything is inside. And sometimes you have to let all of yourself out to make people understand who you are, but it's okay. You can't have a fear of that. It's okay.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to let Joe close, because I'll go to a whole nother topic.
And we'll have a whole nother show going before it's over.
But thank you, Joe,
You're
for all
welcome.
you do. You really make it work, and I love you for that and so much more.
Thank you so much. I love you too. And we love all of our listeners and all of you. And thank you so much for joining us. This has been a wonderful chat that we've been able to have. We love having these kind of chats where we can sort of break open the mold a little bit and let you see who we are as people, and how She Compass came to be, and what we believe in. So we encourage you to continue to follow us and continue to listen to us. You know where to find us. We're on social media, Instagram at shecompass.com, Twitter at She Compass, and Facebook at She Compass. And please continue to follow us, and we thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful day.